We're going to have our summation today by Mayor Jennifer Roberts. I turn it over to you, Mayor Roberts.
Thank you, Rodney. And I want to, I want to also thank all of the witnesses, historic and impacted and confessing. We've had quite a journey tonight. It has been a journey. And there are some themes that have come through loudly and clearly. And it's interesting when I heard Dr. Sachs talk about the twindemic of the pandemic and police violence. And what I often think about is that we have a syndemic, because what we've seen tonight is the connection between everything in our communities, our physical environment, our mental health, our health, our education. It is all connected. And the syndemic that we confront right now is COVID. We're still in a pandemic, racial injustice, police violence, climate change, which again is part of that environmental oppression. And we're also seeing our democracy challenged. So we have people are losing even more trust in government and the systems that are supposed to lift us up and bring us forward. We've also seen that there's not equal access, there's not equal outcomes, even though the US spends more money than anyone. We're 30th in outcomes in healthcare. And much of that burden is on Black and Brown communities. And that is the system. And it is people in the system who are absolutely treating people differently. It also reminded me of some of our earlier witnesses in the criminal justice testimonies who talked about being throwaway people, that they weren't sure people cared about them. They weren't sure people saw them or heard them or thought that they could be saved, that they were worthy and valued. And we see that in our healthcare system. We have a lot of work to do. The video in talking about all those connections about the environment and how important it is, and we can't put people back in unhealthy neighborhoods, the built environment, neighborhoods that don't have shade trees, where people can't afford air conditioning. We know that heat leads to more aggression and more violence and to more health issues. So many of these things together. And even food access. It was wonderful to hear about the local farm and the urban gardening. And it's sad. I know the statistic, only 2% of American farmers are Black. It used to be almost a third. And a lot of that is because of legacy of slavery, not having land passed down to people of African descent, and also a desire to move away from a painful history and thereby losing access to healthy food. So it is a cycle that we, in these testimonies and these recommendations that we plan to bring forward and support, it is a cycle we want to break. We know that hope is eternal and that people of goodwill can be misguided and not have the right information. And we hope that these testimonies tonight will help open some eyes. And we plan to use that information in reaching out to more and more people. And we know if we work together, systems can change, but they take a long time. And so it's hard to sum up, but this has been an amazing learning. There is so much pain and death and suffering. And people who look like me, the white ancestors, and even today, a lot of white people are persisting in these disparities and in this oppression and suppression of equality. We plan to work, we're dreaming big here in our Rap Track project. We want to change that. And hopefully after tonight in the healthcare industry, when we encourage more people of color to become doctors and nurses, physicians, when we work with our community to try to change those challenges, we have to work on everything at once. And this is our third hearing. The themes keep coming back. Um, we need to work on everything at once. So again, I say thank you. We will come up with some recommendations out of this. We will use these powerful testimonies to help raise that awareness that will bring about true and lasting change. Healthcare is a human right. Access to healthcare should be equal for everyone, and it should not be based on a profit motive. Thank you so much, Dr. Sadler, and thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Roberts. Healthcare is a human right. You hit that right there for us, and it's something that should not be given out differently because of what racial identity is in the midst of this world. I just want to take a few seconds to say thank you to all of the witnesses that participated tonight, all of the commissioners that stood with us, to Aaron, to Maddie, and to Jency, who's been both a commissioner and working behind the scenes this evening. I'm grateful to all of you that you put this wonderful opportunity to hear from people together. These stories are important stories. They shape us, they define the world, and hopefully they will help us to begin to change our city, our state, our nation, our world, to make it more just.